She was brutally humiliated. At her own family's celebration, Eleanor walked into the Montclair estate wearing a plain cotton dress and worn ballet flats surrounded by a sea of fur coats and diamond rings the size of marbles. "Don't let her stand near the photo op. That Zara dress is ruining the shot," someone scoffed. Her husband whispered something into the ear of a young female executive without once looking at his wife until a Rolls-Royce Phantom pulled up to the entrance, and inside sat the billionaire father she never introduced to the Whitmore family. The Whitmore Group's 35th anniversary gala was a spectacle of wealth, a shimmering fortress on the shores of Montclair's private lake. The estate's grand hall gleamed with $20,000 chandeliers, their prisms dancing across marble floors polished to a mirror sheen. Orchids worth $500 each lined the tables, their petals glowing under $10,000 candelabras. The air carried the scent of $800 champagne and Chanel, No 5 mingling with the chatter of Fortune 500 CEOs and $5,000 tuxedos politicians in $3,000 gowns and global investors with $15,000 watches. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the lake's moonlit ripples, while a massive digital screen live-streamed the event to international shareholders, each frame a testament to the Whitmore's power. Guests in Louboutins and Cartier bracelets glided through the hall, their laughter a currency of influence. This was the pinnacle of elite society, where every glance was a deal, every seat a crown. Isabel Carter stepped into this world. Her cotton midi dress a soft beige, her flat scuffed her hair tied neatly at the nape. At 30, raised in Brooklyn, she taught literature in public schools before marrying Brandon Lancaster, the younger son of the Whitmore family. She was here to celebrate her in-laws' legacy, seeking a moment of connection. Her presence was a silent fracture in the gala's opulence, her simplicity, a spark in the elite's curated frost. The insults fell like shards of glass, a venomous storm igniting the hall. Eleanor's mother-in-law, Victoria Lancaster, in a $60,000 Dior gown, approached with a smile sharper than a blade. "Eleanor, why don't you sit at the side table with the catering staff?" she said, her voice loud enough for nearby guests to hear. "That way you won't stand out?" The crowd smirked, their $4,000 clutches glinting. Margaret, 62, born in Manhattan, prided herself on curating the family's image. Eleanor sought a seat near the main table, her hazel eyes steady, but a senator's wife in a $3,500 shawl sneered. "She looks like she wandered in from a thrift store." The laughter echoed their $700 heels clicking. Eleanor smoothed her dress, her face calm, but the audience's frustration stirred their hearts, tensing the guests' casual cruelty, their scorn a guillotine against her quiet grace. The guests' cruelty surged a choreographed assault meant to crush Eleanor's spirit before the gala's elite. A group of investors led by a tech tycoon in a $4,000 tuxedo gathered near the bar, their $600 cigars pointed at Eleanor's seat. "She's a charity case who lucked into a ring," the tycoon sneered, tossing a $200 coaster toward her table. "Go back to your chalkboards, darling." Another guest, waving a $1,500 fan, shouted, "That dress is an insult to Montclair." The laughter roared their colleagues, nudging each other, their diamond cufflinks glinting. A hedge fund manager bellowed, "She's a blemish on the Whitmore name." The taunts were a guillotine, each word a blade against Eleanor's poised silence. The live stream flickered, amplifying their scorn to shareholders. Eleanor's hazel eyes remained steady, but the guests' disdain was a crushing weight. The audience's rage surged, their hearts pounding furious at this orchestrated cruelty, their anger a fire ready to consume the guests' arrogance. The family's disdain sharpened a public wound meant to sear Eleanor's sister-in-law, Sienna Lancaster. 28 strutted forward in a $4,000 Versace dress. Her $2,000 earrings swang. "Wait, is that an iPhone 11? She scoffed, gesturing at Eleanor's phone. "I thought only boomers still use those." Her clique erupted, their $5,000 bracelets, flashing eyes darting to Eleanor's seat, Cassandra's right. Her friend, a hedge fund heiress, added her voice, carrying over the orchestra. That dress is the definition of minimalist. Looks like someone ironed a tablecloth. The hall roared. Politicians clapping their $1,500 cufflinks glinting. Cassandra leaned in, her whisper a dagger. Eleanor, you're an embarrassment to Alex. He deserves someone with actual class. The live stream captured every word, amplifying the taunts to millions. Eleanor adjusted her hair, her hazel eyes unwavering, but the audience's frustration boiled, their hearts breaking. For Eleanor, furious at Cassandra's vicious slander, her cruelty a public crucifixion, Cassandra's venom escalated her words, a public shaming orchestrated for the hall's amusement. She strutted to the center of the gala, her $4,000 Versace dress, shimmering, her voice carrying over the orchestra. "This woman's a fraud. Probably conned Alex into marriage," she declared, gesturing at Eleanor's flats. "She's not here for love. She's here to leech off our empire." Her clique erupted in laughter, their $5,000 earrings, swaying eyes darting to Eleanor's seat. "She's a nobody, not a Whitmore Cassandra," sneered her voice, silencing nearby murmurs. The guests cheered their scorn, a suffocating tide, their whispers buzzing. "She's a scam." The live stream flashed a mocking caption, uninvited guest. Eleanor's fingers brushed her dress, her smile a shield against the betrayal. The audience's fury roared, their hearts breaking. For Eleanor, enraged at this vicious slander unveiled before the elite, Alex's betrayal cut deeper, his actions a calculated betrayal broadcast to the elite. He stood by the bar, his $3,000 tuxedo, crisp, flirting with Madison Clark, a stunning CEO in a $5,000 gown. "Hey, Eleanor, can you check the dinner menu for me?" he called out, his voice loud enough for the hall to hear. "I need to order for you and Rachel." The guests chuckled, their $600 flutes clinking as Rachel smirked, her $10,000 necklace gleaming. Alex, 32, raised in Greenwich, had once loved Eleanor's simplicity, but now his eyes lingered on Rachel's polish. "You're not polished enough to stand on a financial magazine cover with me," he'd told Eleanor earlier, his words now echoing in her silence. The live stream zoomed in on Eleanor's worn flats, captioned, "Out of place." Eleanor gripped her dress, her face serene, but the audience's rage surged, their hearts pounding at Alex's public treachery, their fury ablaze against his disloyalty. The staff's complicity deepened the wound, their scorn a fresh betrayal, a housekeeper. Monica Green approached Eleanor in the kitchen, her $200 uniform starched, her voice dripping with condescension. "If you hadn't married into this family, you'd probably be mopping a classroom somewhere," she said loud enough for the catering team to hear. The staff snickered, their $100 aprons rustling, as Diane, 45, raised in Newark, relished her moment of superiority. "You don't belong in this hall," she added, gesturing at Eleanor's flats. The live stream caught the exchange, amplifying the insult to shareholders. Guests nearby nodded their $2,000 shawls, swaying their approval, a suffocating tide. Eleanor stood by the counter, her hazel eyes steady, but the staff's cruelty was a crushing weight. The audience's fury flared, their hearts breaking for Eleanor, their rage a tidal wave against this orchestrated lie. The staff's cruelty turned overt. Their actions a public wound meant to wound Eleanor before the gala's elite, a senior waiter. Daniel Brooks approached Eleanor during a toast, his $300 uniform pristine, his voice dripping with condescension. "Miss, the service wing needs extra hands," he said, loud enough for the guests to hear. "Your attire suggests you'd fit right in." He gestured at Eleanor's dress, his smirk mirrored by colleagues. "We don't typically seat such guests in the main hall," he added, sparking laughter from the staff and nearby CEOs. At 42, raised in Jersey City, Victor prided himself on enforcing hierarchy. The crowd's approval was a crushing tide, their arrogance a public execution. Eleanor gripped her flats, her hazel eyes unwavering, but the staff's scorn was a suffocating weight. The audience's rage flared, their hearts pounding at this institutional betrayal, their fury ablaze against the gala's sanctity. The guests' mockery grew bolder, a venomous chorus echoing through the hall. A financial journalist in a $2,500 suit leaned toward his date, his voice sharp. She's probably some charity case Alex picked up. He sneered, gesturing at Eleanor's dress. His date in a $3,000 gown. Laughed. She's an insult to the Whitmore legacy. Their table cheered their warm $500 flutes, clinking a tech. Mogul shouted she's a nobody in a sea of titans. The laughter roared. Their $6,000 cufflinks, flashing a socialite, tossed a $200 napkin toward Eleanor's seat, whispering back to Brooklyn Sweetheart. The live stream lingered on Eleanor, amplifying the taunts to millions. Eleanor stood by the bar, her hazel eyes burning with quiet fire, her dress smoothed. She'd spent years shaping young minds, but the guests' scorn was a crushing weight. The audience's frustration erupted their hearts with Eleanor, their fury a fire ready to consume the elite's arrogance. The elite's disdain surged as they spun vicious rumors, their voices a venomous storm echoing through the hall. A group of politicians in $500 gowns gathered near the stage, their $800 flutes pointed at Eleanor's seat. She's a gold digger, probably here to snag a bigger fortune. One hissed, gesturing at Eleanor's flats. Her marriage, a cover for crashing our circle. Their clique nodded their $2,000 watches, flashing, shouting, "She's a fraud." Another added, "She's fooling no one." The laughter roared each rumor, a dagger aimed at Eleanor's heart. Guests whispered lies, their accusations spreading like wildfire. She's after the Whitmore estate. The live stream flashed a zoomed-in shot of Eleanor's dress, captioned Intruder. Alert! Eleanor's fingers brushed her hair, her gaze steady, but the elite's slander was a crushing weight. The audience's anger erupted their hearts with Eleanor, their fury a tidal wave against this malicious slander, desperate for the truth to shatter the elite's lies. The gala's cruelty peaked during a shareholder toast, a ritual to honor the Whitmore Group's elite. The host, a polished man in a $3,000 tuxedo, took the mic, his voice booming. "Let's celebrate our visionaries," he said, gesturing toward Margaret's table. The live stream panned to the Whitmores, their gowns gleaming while Eleanor was ignored. A CEO shouted, "Keep the riffraff out." The applause roared, a suffocating tide, their arrogance a public execution. The digital screen flashed a zoomed-in shot of Eleanor's flats, captioned, "Guest error." A politician bellowed, "She's a disgrace to Montclair." The laughter was a crushing tide, their arrogance a public crucifixion. Eleanor adjusted her hair, her hazel eyes steady, but the gala's betrayal was a crushing weight. The audience's fury roared, their hearts breaking for Eleanor, their rage ablaze against this orchestrated lie. The gala host's cruelty stung as he orchestrated Eleanor's erasure, his actions a public lie meant to wound her before the elite. "Let's honor the Whitmore Group's future," he declared, his $3,000 tuxedo gleaming as he gestured toward Margaret's table. To our stars of Montclair, the crowd cheered, their $400 flutes raised, spotlighting Margaret's clique. To the legacy of power, a guest shouted, sparking applause. The live stream swarmed Margaret's group, their gowns a spotlight while Eleanor was left in the shadows. A politician yelled, "No outsiders allowed." The laughter roared each exclusion, a dagger aimed at Eleanor's heart. The host's smile was a blade, his words a betrayal of the gala's truth. Eleanor stood by her seat, her dress a quiet crown, her silence a furnace. The audience's rage flared, their hearts pounding at this orchestrated lie. Their fury ablaze against the gala's sanctity, desperate for William to shatter the deception. Eleanor stepped out of the ballroom, her flats silent on the marble, her heart heavy, but her resolve unbroken. She'd hidden her past to live, authentically raised by her father, Richard Carter, a Wall Street titan who'd built Reed Holdings in silence. She'd chosen teaching over boardrooms, Brooklyn over penthouses, but tonight the Whitmore's cruelty demanded truth. Her phone rang, its screen glowing in the dim corridor. "Miss Reed, your father won't be attending." Her assistant said he wants you to represent Reed Holdings for the investment announcement. Eleanor took a breath, her voice steady. "I'll do it," she said. No one heard, no one cared. She smoothed her dress, her hazel eyes burning with quiet fire. and turned back toward the hall. The audience's hearts tensed their rage, simmering as Eleanor's truth prepared to shatter the lies that had bound her. The double doors swung open, a gust of lake air sweeping through the hall. Eleanor stepped back in, same cotton dress, same worn flats, same calm eyes. A staffer followed, holding a placard that read, "Reed, Holdings, Official Representative, Isabel Carter." The room froze, the orchestra's notes fading, the live stream flickering. Gasps rippled through the hall, faces paling under $10,000 chandeliers. Margaret's $6,000 gown dulled her flute. Trembling, Cassandra's earrings stopped swaying, her smirk gone. Alex's tuxedo seemed to shrink, his eyes wide. The digital screen flashed the placard, amplifying Eleanor's title to millions. The audience's hearts soared, their frustration transformed into awe as Eleanor's truth unraveled, the Whitmore's lies, her presence a storm in the gala's opulence. Eleanor took the mic, her voice soft but unyielding, a blade wrapped in silk. "I'm Isabel Carter, daughter of Richard Carter," she said, her hazel eyes sweeping the hall, "and the sole legal representative for all Reed Holdings investments in Whitmore Group." The room exploded, gasps echoing off the marble shareholders whispering on the live stream. Margaret clutched her glass, her knuckles white. Alex turned pale, his $3,000 tuxedo a mockery. Eleanor turned to Margaret, her smile serene. "You once told me I should look for a more stable job than teaching public school. You were right. Starting tomorrow, I'll be working full-time, overseeing every dollar. Reed Holdings contributes to the network of private academies you've been soliciting." The crowd gasped, their $5,000 bracelets dull. The audience cheered, their fury transformed into pride as Eleanor's authority reshaped the gala's power. Eleanor turned to Alex, her gaze steady, her voice a quiet thunder. "You said you're not polished enough to stand on a financial magazine cover with me. That's fair, because from today forward, you don't carry the credibility to stand next to my name on any shareholder registry." The hall fell silent, the live stream amplifying her words to millions. Alex stumbled back, his flute crashing to the floor. Rachel's $5,000 gown fading as she stepped away. Eleanor faced Rachel, her smile unwavering. "Congratulations, the man you've been chasing." His value just dropped off the investment board. The guests froze, their $15,000 watches, dimmed, their empires crumbling under Eleanor's command. The audience roared, their hearts soaring, as Eleanor's truth crushed the Whitmore's arrogance, her dignity ablaze under the chandeliers. Richard Carter's presence commanded the gala, his voice a thunderclap that silenced the chandelier-lit hall. "You dared to mock Isabel Carter, the daughter who carries my legacy," he said, his hazel eyes a storm of unrelenting fury. "Your gowns, your titles mean nothing against her honor." He raised a tablet, revealing a cascade of severed ties. Margaret's academy funding, Cassandra's shareholder privileges, Alex's board position, Rachel's investment deals, all terminated by Reed Holdings board. "Your names are erased from Montclair's legacy," he declared, his gaze piercing. "Margaret, you've lost more than a gala. You've lost your place in this empire." The crowd's gasps were a symphony of shock, their empires crumbling under his command. Eleanor stood beside him, her dress glowing, her triumph sealed by William's unrelenting power. The audience roared, their hearts soaring, as his global retribution crushed the elite's arrogance. Eleanor's vindication ablaze under the marble arches. The fallout was immediate, a reckoning delivered under the gala's opulence. Margaret's influence vanished, her academy funding now under Eleanor's control. Her status a cautionary tale on the live stream. Cassandra's social standing collapsed, her Versace dress a mockery. Her invitations void, Alex's board position was stripped, his name erased from Whitmore Group's shareholder registry. His reputation, dust. Rachel's company, lost. Reed Holdings backing her, $10,000 necklace, dull, her deals, null. Diane, the housekeeper, was fired. Her apron, a relic, her scorn exposed on the live stream. The journalist who'd mocked Eleanor was shunned, his bylines void. The CEO who'd shouted was banned from future events, his influence null. Eleanor stood by the podium, her cotton dress a quiet crown, her flats a testament to her truth. The audience's hearts thundered, their anger transformed into triumph as the elite bowed to the woman they'd scorned. The staff's downfall was a spectacle, their arrogance shattered under William's command. One by one they stepped to the stage, their uniforms dull, their voices trembling. Victor faced the guests, his uniform a relic. "I was wrong to demean, misread," he said, his apology a public wound, his role null. A caterer followed her, status erased. "I shouldn't have insulted you," she muttered. Her influence dust. The staff who'd sneered stood last, their badges stripped, their jobs ended. The live stream broadcasted their disgrace, amplifying their apologies to millions. Eleanor stood beside William, her dress a quiet crown, her flats a testament to her truth. The audience's hearts thundered, their anger transformed into pride. Eleanor's victory and William's wrath, a blaze that humbled the gala's gatekeepers. The elite's disgrace was cemented as they faced the hall, their arrogance undone by William's command. Margaret stumbled through the gala, her gown a mockery, her reputation a cautionary tale among the guests. The politician who'd sneered hid her flute, her influence null. The socialite who'd tossed the napkin was shunned, her invitations void. Rachel's ban was broadcast on the live stream, her status dust. One by one they approached Eleanor, their $5,000 gowns dull, their voices trembling. "I was wrong to mock you, Miss Reed." A tycoon muttered his apology. A public wound. The audience roared, their hearts soaring, as the elite's apologies echoed, their empires crumbling under Eleanor's command. Eleanor stood tall, her dress a quiet crown, her hazel eyes unyielding, her triumph sealed by William's unrelenting power. William's wrath reshaped the gala, his authority a fire that burned through the hall's hierarchy. He faced the guests, his voice booming over the speakers. Montclair was built for excellence, not exclusion. He said, his hazel eyes sweeping the crowd. Every guest, whether in cotton or couture, deserves respect. He announced a new Reed Holdings directive. All Whitmore Group events would enforce a respect policy with violators banned. The live stream displayed the updated policy, amplifying William's decree to millions. The guests who'd mocked Eleanor stood silent. Their $12,000 watches dimmed their status. Null. Eleanor stood beside him, her dress a quiet crown, her triumph a beacon. The audience's hearts soared, their anger transformed into pride, as William's vision and Eleanor's dignity rewrote the gala's legacy. Eleanor stepped out of the estate, her flat silent on the gravel, the media parting like the Red Sea. The live stream followed, amplifying her exit to millions. A black Rolls-Royce Phantom pulled up, its chrome gleaming under the moon. The door opened and Richard Carter stepped out. His $20,000 suit increased his presence, a storm. At 65, born in Chicago, he was the elusive titan who'd built Reed Holdings in silence. He looked directly at the cameras, his voice a gavel strike. "My daughter stayed quiet out of respect, not weakness, but today the world returned to its proper order." The crowd fell silent, their $12,000 gowns fading, their empires crumbling under his gaze. Eleanor took his hand, her hazel eyes radiant, her triumph sealed by her father's unrelenting power. The audience roared, their hearts soaring as the gala's hierarchy collapsed under Eleanor's quiet fire. They thought she was a misplaced accessory at a diamond-studded party. But in the end, it was they who no longer belonged in a world that truly held value. If this flipped your expectations, like, comment, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and don't forget to subscribe.